Downtown, Petco Park, a new beginning, let's go. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Baby said she wanna go to the game. Taught her how to say Padres gang. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Mitchell and Ness with the old school name. All of the homies holler Padre gang. Yeah, that.
And good day, everybody. Welcome to episode 174 of the Talking Friars podcast and YouTube show. I'm your host, Ben Fadden, with former Helix baseball player and San Diego Padres minor leaguer, Jack Stronach. Jack, thank you so much for joining the show.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course.
Yeah, so first off, before we get into kind of Padres questions and all that, just introducing you for those that don't know. Um, I was with Jack. I was his bat boy, Helix's bat boy, during your senior year,
Yep.
during Jack's senior year. I was in middle school at that time, and so I met him there, and then I played for the baseball program, and he came, I think, to Helix a couple times when I was there. I think he was at UCLA, just batting practice and stuff like that. But it was really cool. I wanted to get him on just to reminisce about that, his Helix experience, and kind of like the Joe Musgrove thing, right? How he went to Grossmont and a San Diego local high school. Now he's in the Padres organization. So just teeing it up there. Jack, let's first start off with your time at Helix. Specifically, kind of that senior year, right? That senior year, that team was pretty stacked. You had
Oh
Matt,
yeah.
who went to Utah. You had Brandon Peterson, who went to San Jose State. You had Connor, who went to San Jose State. You had Keaton, who went to Oregon. You had Smelko. Just tell me how fun that
Oh
year
yeah.
was for you guys.
Oh man, that was a blast. A couple other names, Michael Brogan,
Yeah.
Aaron. We just had a great group of guys. Even the guys that didn't go to college, they were grinders, they were scrappers. They found a way to get it done. Billy Blevins, I don't know if you remember him. He's the
Hmm.
man. Um, it was just so much fun, man. We had a great culture. We just played well together, and I have so many fond memories. We went up to Pismo Beach for a tournament, and I think I can't remember if we won. I think we might have lost in the championship. But I mean, just playing with that group I'll never forget that. It was just so much fun, man.
Who was I mean, this is kind of putting you on the spot, but who was, I guess, your best or favorite teammate of that team?
Uh, it, I mean, it has to be Billy. I mean, I talk to
Okay.
Billy the most still. He was my same grade. I think there was only 4 or 5 of us from my senior class that were on that team. Um, but I still talk to Billy to this day, and I think he was my guy for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What did you learn most, maybe it was from Coach Holland, or just what did you learn most that you kinda take with you now, from that Helix program?
You know, Coach Holland, he's my sophomore year. He gives me smack about this all the time. My sophomore year, he was really drilling into me, and like I was coming home, and I had never had a coach who was just like really on me, like day in and day out. And yeah, I was telling my mom like, "Hey, I don't want to play for this guy. This guy's too mean." Um, and then I really kind of figured out that he cared about me, and like he wanted me to play the right way, play hard, and like do the right things. So it was some tough love, and I think that was the best thing. Like looking back on it, that was the best thing like he ever did, was like be like, hey, like I'm gonna be tough on you, but it's gonna make you a better player. And it I mean, it just helped me so much.
Mhm.
Um,
It
yeah,
seemed like he was tough on everyone. I think, yeah, that's
yeah,
definitely something that helped, plus even players that, like, didn't make it to, like, the college level or anything like that, because it kinda, like, instilled in you that he cared, and that people, people aren't gonna be, buddy buddy to you all the time, and that
hmm
can be a good thing, you know? Um,
oh for sure.
alright. When was that you committed to UCLA, and what other schools, were you considering?
Yeah, so I was actually a super late commit and everything. A lot of guys were committing as freshmen, sophomore, juniors. I didn't talk to a college coach till the end of my junior year of high school. So I was really late on that whole process. Um, And there were a couple schools. There's Valparaiso, Columbia. I was really high on Columbia. UC Riverside. Trying to think if there's anything else. A couple D2s, but those 3 D1s were the kind of the main ones. And I was pretty dead set on Columbia. And then UCLA came calling, and they were like, "Hey, we've seen you around. We want you to come out to this camp, and just kind of see you play one last time." I ended up going to that camp, go like 6 for 8, hit like 3 triples, and had basically the weekend of my life. And they called me the next week. They're like, "Hey, we're going to offer you a spot on the team. There's not going to be a scholarship with her. It's just a roster spot, but you're going to have the opportunity to perform and then get a scholarship your sophomore year," which is what ended up happening. So I was a little nervous, my junior year, maybe the junior summer, because I was like, man, there's not a lot of schools. I want to go, I want to stay kind of close to home. I want to play D1. I wanted all these things. And, Coach Holland just kept telling me, hey, man, just keep grinding. Something will happen. It's going to happen for you. Just keep grinding. And sure enough, UCLA came calling, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah, and I was looking at your stats the other day at UCLA, and it's not like you were hitting, like, a bunch of home runs or anything like that, and I remember you at Helix as someone that was able to hit pretty much to all fields and was
Mm-hmm.
really good defensively. Was that part of the reason that you think made yourself appealing to the Padres was that defensive side of the game?
Yeah. I yeah, I think being able to play at like a prestigious college like UCLA, and like them just knowing how work ethic goes around there and everything, and just that I had some good interviews pre-draft, and I think that they liked my character and just kind of things I stood for, and then obviously playing baseball as well. So I think it was just a culmination of a bunch of different things that ended up helping me get drafted to the Pods, which was it was crazy. I actually have a story about that if you want to hear that getting
Yeah, yeah,
drafted.
go ahead.
Um, so it was day 3 of the draft, and my agent was telling me like, hey, it's gonna probably happen today, and I'm thinking, great, I have a 3-hour 15-person lecture that I'm going to be in basically the whole day, the whole morning when the draft is going on. So I told the professor like, hey man, I might get drafted in the middle of class. Like if I get a phone call, I'm gonna have to step out. And he was like, oh, that's awesome. Go for it. Do what you gotta do. Towards the end of class, I feel my phone start buzzing. I'm like, oh man, this could be it. I stand up, kind of give them like the, hey, I gotta go. Step out, and sure enough, my agent's like, hey, yeah, it's the Padres. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. This is awesome. It was an absolute dream come true. And I go back in the class, and one of my teammates was in the class as well, and he was like, well, who was it? It was the Padres. He was just cracking up like, that's just awesome. So
Yeah,
that
and
was
yeah, that's crazy because I mean, I kinda have a similar experience with that, like, I think I was in my history class at Helix, and
mhm.
it was that late in the draft where it's not like it was live on, like, MLB Network or anything, so I was following the MLB.com, like, draft, like, they name player by player,
Yeah,
and then I saw your name come up, I was like, "Oh, nice," and then I saw the Padres logo next to it, I was like, "You gotta be kidding me,
no way.
this is
Yeah,
crazy." So, yeah,
yeah.
so you were is this kinda like the Joe Musgrove thing where you were a Padre fan your whole life?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So my family is originally from Chicago, so I grew up kind of a Cubs Padres fan. But going to games at Petco when I was 6 years old, I'm gonna have those memories forever. And Padres hold such a special place in my heart that that day getting drafted by them was just, it was surreal, absolutely
Mhm.
surreal. I had all my friends back home from San Diego texting me like, no way. It was it just brings a smile to my face thinking about it.
Yeah, and at Helix, like, because I knew when I was done, like, playing or practice or whatever, pretty much, during the year, it would be go back, watch the Padre game, and my family has season tickets, so it would either be watching the game on TV or going to the game. Um, was that kinda the same for you, or what was kinda your routine, after you were done with your day?
So it's still kind of the same routine. I've spent quite a lot of time on baseball fields,
Mhm.
and so when I
Oh, I can't hear you. I think I lost you. Hang on, we'll try to get Jack back. Bear with me here. Let's see. We'll try to get him back. There we go. I think he's back. Let's
Okay,
see.
all right, I'm
Okay,
back.
there you go.
Sorry,
Yep,
I got a
you're
call.
good.
Wait, what was I talking about again?
Just
Totally
your
forgot.
routine
Oh
coming home.
yeah,
It's kind of like the same now.
yeah. So when I'm away from the field, maybe I'll watch some like video on my swings or something like that. But especially now being at the field, maybe 8 9 hours a day, um, I like to kind of decompress. I'm big. I play Rocket League, so I've been grinding that a little bit with a couple buddies. My friend Michael Tolia, he's with the Rockies. He was the Rockies' first round pick the other year in 2019. Um, we've both been playing the last couple of years, and we're just slowly. It's a very tough game. We're slowly getting better. Um, so that's one of the things I do, and then my girlfriend as well. She's playing soccer in Washington D.C. So we talk quite a bit, and it's just really nice being able to talk to her because if I had a bad day, she's an athlete. She totally understands it and knows exactly what to say, and vice versa. She has a bad day. I understand it too. So just kind of doing those little things to decompress at the end of a long day and just you know be be in a great mental space for going into the next day.
Yeah. And you mentioned your girlfriend about she plays Washington Spirit, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
I
that's really cool because San Diego, the Wave they're just here, so they're in their first season in the NWSL.
Oh yeah.
Um, so how cool is that? Like, do you watch all of her games and stuff?
Yeah. Oh
When
yeah. I try to watch as many as I can. Obviously, if I'm playing, I can't. But I tell everybody, I'm like, hey, she's the real athlete in the relationship. Like she's running 6 miles a day, doing
uh,
crazy stuff that I could never think about doing. Um, so yeah, I have so much respect for how much and how hard she trains. Just because it's soccer is grueling. Just running around for 90 minutes nonstop and training all the time. Oh, I stopped playing soccer because I don't like running.
uh,
And she's a grinder, man. I love it.
what's the difference? Like, I know there's probably a big difference, but like, can you compare her training to yours? Like, what does she do compared to what you're doing, like workout wise?
We're so I mean, day to day basis for like us in the minor leagues, it's we'll lift a couple times a week, and then like a standard practice, like pregame practice, we'll head out there, we'll stretch, we'll do some base running drills, do some bands, throw. We'll do some sort of like defense thing for 30 35 minutes, whether it's like infield, outfield, ground balls, PFPs, just anything like that to kind of touch the defensive side. And then we'll take BP for about 45 minutes. Um, that's kind of your standard like pregame routine, and then obviously we have 2.5 3 hour game right after that. And then her schedule. I don't know exactly what she does in practice, but I know that they do a lot of just running, and then like 4v4, 5v5, 9v9, like stuff like that. Just kind of getting game scenarios, and practice different things, practice different spacing and stuff like that. And all I know is it's a lot of running, and then I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I try running, like, 2 or 3 miles a day, but, like, 6, that's a total different level, yeah.
It's
Um,
great. She has one of those boot bands,
yeah.
um, and those keep track of like your workouts and like how much you run, calories, like all this stuff. And she'll normal day she'll be like, oh yeah, I ran 5 miles a day. What? So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it's
crazy, yeah.
funny.
This kinda just came into my head, this question, because obviously she has some pretty big teammates there with Trinity Rodman and, Kelly O'Hara, that's just the start of it. Like,
Hmm.
has she told you anything in terms of, like, advice or anything that they've had? Because 'Cause they're elite, obviously top of their game
Yeah.
athletes as well. Have you learned anything from that?
Um, she doesn't talk too much. I mean, she's great friends with them and everything.
Right.
I don't think she brought that up too much. I know that they like to keep it light over there, and
Yeah.
like they're really big on like culture and like having a strong like team, which I love. UCLA it was the same way. Like we were really good, and we were like this. Um, so yeah, it's just the closer you can get your team, the better you guys are going to play on the field. I think that's just a huge part of any team. Um, and then just I guess silencing the noise. They're on like I mean they're in big leagues of their
Right.
sport. And those couple players, Kelly O'Hara, um, a couple other ones, Rodman, they're on the national team, so they got noise all over the place. And, silencing the noise is big for them too. And just focusing on their team, what they need to do, what to accomplish, not the trolls on Twitter.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now getting to, your minor league career so far, you played with the Storm last year, had success. They
Yep.
brought you up this year to Fort Wayne. It hasn't gone like, as successful in terms of, like, the numbers
Yeah.
wise. Um, what do you think that's to? Are you trying to make some adjustments offensively? Do you just notice a much better level of pitching? Like, kinda what is that?
Yeah. So obviously, baseball it's a tough sport, and you're gonna have streaks, a couple games, a week, a month, sometimes where it's not clicking. And so this, I had a solid month there, about 4.5 series where I wasn't on time, and I was like, it was just nothing was clicking. I was overthinking everything, and that's kind of how baseball goes. But this past week, I really was grinding with my hitting coach, Randolph Gasaway, and then our one of our hitting coordinators came into town, Mike McCoy, and we kind of figured something out with the timing mechanism. And so I had a pretty good week last week. It's a long season, and I think I hit the valley, and I'm on the upswing now. So I like where I'm at right now, and I think there's good things for the future coming.
Yeah, and, one of the moments this year already for you was, when Blake Snell came and rehabbed that one rehab start. What was that experience like? I'm sure that was because I know, like, in the minor leagues, whenever a big leaguer comes, and makes a rehab start or a rehab appearance, if it's a position player, most of the time, it's like AAA, or at the Padres, it's in Lake Elsinore, but for him to go to Fort Wayne, was unique. Just how cool was that experience for you?
Oh, it's sweet. Last year with the Storm, we had Denelson Lamet a couple times. And then Snell. I mean, Snell, he's like he's awesome, man. Like you can just tell the stuff you see on TV of him, kind of
Mhm.
cracking jokes and stuff. He's the same exact guy in the clubhouse, just cracking jokes and whatever. Um, he got us post game and pre game spread. He got us some nice steaks for after the game. So he's just a great guy, and like being able to just play. I was playing first base that day, got
Mhm.
a front row view to watch him pitch, and just how he handles himself. It's special, and it was pretty cool to see.
Did you notice, like, what's his preparation, like? Does that stand out? Did that stand it out, at all to you?
So I didn't get to see his like pregame warm up routine
Mhm.
as much, but I mean, you can see the just how locked in he is, just like his facial expressions, and just kind of like he's there. It didn't matter to him that he's pitching in a minor league game. Like he was there to shove. Um,
Mhm.
and when you see a pitcher that's like dialed in, ready to go, like it's fun to play defense and play behind, because that they're giving everything they can, and it's pretty sweet.
So, what was you talked about the meal. What was the pre and post game that he got you?
So I know Ruth Chris Steakhouse. I don't know. Have you been there?
No.
So it's a pretty nice steakhouse. And he went. Um, he balled out for us. So we got some high quality steaks post game. And then I believe he got us. I can't remember if it was Chipotle or a Qdoba, like a giant Chipotle or Qdoba spread pregame, which is awesome because sometimes it's just sandwiches or something that's not as good. But that was like a full on spread, like get as much as you want. And that was awesome. I love that.
Yeah. Because what are the usual minor league food? Like I've heard stories of like players having peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Like what is it for you guys?
Yeah, so actually the how far it's come and so my first year in Tri-Cities in 2019 in short season compared to now is like completely different. They've done like such a good job or just come such a long way from where it was when I first started to now. I remember my first year I was having basically just PB&Js before the game every day where I'd eat a meal at home, come to the field, we'd have like our pregame practice and about 3-4 hours would go by and have a PB&J or two, and then play a game, and then have a meal afterwards. So that was tough. And now, I mean, now still we'll here and there we'll have like the Chipotle or Qdoba spread. We'll have burritos or sandwiches. But it's always something like hearty, something that will like get you filled up before the game, and you're not having to rely on PB&Js like I used to be,
Right.
which is awesome. No, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been great. And then too, so another thing that goes with that is the housing that they, at least that the Padres have been doing. Like they put us in a really nice apartment. It's like 10-15 minutes from the field. They pay for it now, and they furnished it, pots, pans, like everything you can need. And it's such just like a burden off the shoulders to just have this, not have to worry about finding a place or paying a crazy amount to find something and not knowing if you're going to go up, down, or whatever. So it's just all the things that you've been seeing about the minor leagues getting better, living conditions. That it has definitely been helping.
Because was it as early as or as recently as like last year? Did you weren't able to have anything paid like for you to live at?
So last year in Lakey, they did have apartments. Previously, they had host families in Lakey, um, but I think because of COVID stuff last year, they had to do the apartments. But then we still had to pay for. I think it was. Can't remember exactly how much, but we definitely got a large chunk of our paycheck taken out for the housing, um, and they did furnish it last year. With like beds and couches and tables and stuff. But this year they even went extra and got us plates and like utensils and like all those little things as well. Which that and then not having to pay rent has been. I mean, it's awesome because we're not making a whole lot.
Right.
So keeping that extra couple $100 from rent has been awesome.
I bet.
Super
I
helpful.
bet. Have you, we talked about Snell a little bit. Have you like been able to talk with any of the, I guess, big league Padres like position players and stuff? Because I'm sure like you can relate to those guys and pick those guys' brains a little more than like pitchers.
Yeah. So I haven't gotten to talk to a whole lot of the position guys. We have a lot of ex big leaguers as staff.
Right.
Shane Robinson, he was with the Cardinals. He came in this year, and he was great, man. He's just a well of information. He doesn't. It's funny. He doesn't like to talk about himself and his playing career, even though he was a beast. Um, but any sort of questions, like he has a great answer for, and the resources that the Padres bring in, and it's great.
hmm Um, let's see. Yeah, let's talk about Robert Hassell III and Joshua Mears, kind of specifically. Like, could you kind of just describe like how talented these guys are? I mean, Hassel seems like the starting outfielder for the Padres of the future. Mears, I know, has struggled a little bit, and he's on the developmental list, I think. Before talking about that and what that list even is, because I'm kind of confused on what that list is. I saw Lamette was on it, I think, a couple weeks ago. Um, just how great do you think that Hassel has been, maturity wise, in the minor leagues?
Oh man, he's a great kid, man. Like he's got a really good head on his shoulders. Sometimes out of high school, you might worry about giving a kid a couple $1 million. What is he gonna do? And, he's got a great head on his shoulders, and he's making the right decisions. He's a great clubhouse guy. He's a funny guy. Just brings good vibes to the locker room and stuff. And then just watching him play, we have like the blast motion. You know what that is?
Yeah.
Where it tracks like your swing metrics and stuff. And he'll pop that on and just be cracking out just like perfect swings. And it's like like his connection score is off the charts and stuff. Yeah, he's a great kid. And if I'm a Padre fan, I'm excited about his future. I mean, he's just a good dude, and he can flat out play.
Mhm.
So,
And then with Mears and kind of what you've seen so far with him, and if you know and can kind of explain what the developmental list is.
yes, I mean, Mears had he had a rough couple weeks there, and I think
Mhm.
they just kind of wanted to try to do a couple things with his swing. So I think they put him on that developmental list just to try out a couple of things and see if some stuff was going to work for him. But I mean, when he's hot, it's it's fun to watch. I think it was the second or third week of the season. He had a ball at Lansing that was the second furthest ball in the Statcast era. There was, so at Lansing, there's the outfield wall and like a little kind of concourse, and then this like 3 or 4 story apartment building, and he hit it like over the apartment building.
Holy cow!
Yeah, so I mean, even last year in Lake E, I think the 3 furthest home runs I've ever seen hit are all by Mearsy. When he's going good and hot, it's impressive. Like there's just no words to describe it. It's crazy.
And what I've seen, I think it was like the preseason, and some media had some video out or whatever of Mears taking BP and all that, and his legs are gigantic. Like,
Yeah.
is that all he does is
Oh
just
yeah.
in the weight room squats and
Oh
all
yeah.
that?
I mean, him in the weight. Yeah, he's crazy in the weight room. I tell a funny story of we'll do like 5 rep maxes and stuff like that. Just last year, I remember in spring training, we were doing like a 5 rep max. You just get 5 solid reps out of deadlift. And I remember my group was doing it, and Mearsy went last, and so we all did our sets. And Mearsy comes up, and I think we had all done about the same weight. And he comes up and he does the weight that we maxed out on as his warm up, and then proceeded to just lift the absolute house. So he's a great kid. He's a beast in the weight room. He's like Hassell. He's got a great head on his shoulder. He's really smart. He's going to go to Purdue. Really, really smart kid. And so he's going to fit. He's going to figure out his stuff for sure. That developmental list, he's just going to try out a couple things, and then he'll be right back in the action. So.
Mhm. All right, my last one here, and we'll see how you answer it with Joe Musgrove. Obviously, I don't know how much you follow the big league team because you're really busy in the minors, but he's been pitching amazing. He's had quality starts every single start so far this year. He's obviously a free agent at the end of the season. So if you were to put your Padre fan cap on, um, how much money would you like be willing to give this guy? Like he needs to stay in San Diego, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think. I mean, he's got his family here. I think
Yeah.
just like, um, I mean, he's got like. I give him whatever he wants. I
Uh-huh.
mean, I think that having his family, having his home, Grossmont right up the road. I think just for your mental like state, like I think that is just like being home is just so helpful. And I know like if I'm playing at home, I can go, have dinner with my mom or do whatever, go to my favorite taco shop, and just like being home just kind of calms you and just puts you in a really good mental spot. And so I think obviously he's been grinding, he's been pitching really well. And I think, being at home is maybe a little part of that. I can't put a dollar amount on it. I just got to give him what he wants. He deserves it, man.
Yeah, and you talked about, like, being home and being able to go with your parents and all that. When you were, at home, at Helix and all that, what was your, like, go-to taco shop?
So it's Humberto's Taco Shop. I think it's on. So you go down the 94 towards downtown, and it's the last exit before you either hop on the 5 or go into downtown. I can't remember if it's 25th or 28th Street, but you get off of that exit. It's about 2 blocks down, and it's right there. And it's best California burritos in San Diego for sure.
Yeah, see, I like have you heard of Rosaritos on University?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a
They're
good
like
spot
I
right there.
think it's a new name now, but yeah, I love their, Cali burritos too.
Yeah,
Alright, I think that's it. This has been really fun, episode
yeah.
174 of the Talking Friars podcast and YouTube show brought to you by Gaglione Bros, famous cheesesteaks and garlic fries, located inside Petco Park. They're located also Mission Gorge, Point Loma for their other 2 locations. You can visit gaglionebros.com to view their entire menu, their addresses, their phone numbers, all that good stuff. Jack, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thanks for having me. That was awesome.